Hello people, you're welcome to Pro Masterclass. My name is Tola, T.A. Alabi, and today I'm going to be telling you or talking about 4 bad reasons you are giving yourself for staying at that job you don't like. So 4 bad excuses you give yourself for staying at a job you don't like. I have a lot of people that are at jobs that they absolutely don't like. They hate. They know that they shouldn't be there, but there are these 4 things that they tell themselves and stay at that job. And it makes them less impactful in life. It makes them unhappy people, but they stay there. I remember working in this place many years ago. It was one of the first jobs I had, and before I started my business, and they had the habit in that place of not paying salaries early. And there was this particular time when the salaries were especially late. At first the salary will be delayed by 2 weeks, then delayed by 1 month. The employer always stretch to see how far against the wall they can push you. Then I remember the longest stretch was like 5 months or so, and not paying salary. And I was shocked that people were still coming to work. People were not skipping work. And they were still querying people for not doing their jobs well. People were coming to work early and closing late. And I was thinking, what's going on here? And I ended up quitting the job because I couldn't do that. I was like, it didn't make any sense. And the people I worked with there, when I was quitting, they told me, you know what? I'm going to follow after you. I'm going to quit. I can't do this anymore. And it's been over, it's been over 11, 12 years now that I quit that job, or more than that. And it's incredible to see how many people are still there working that told me, oh, I'll be quitting too. And the conditions are still the same. And that's because a lot of people give themselves these 4 excuses. These 4 excuses keep you at jobs that you absolutely do not like, are inconveniencing, are not the jobs that bring out the best in you. You hate going there every day, but you find yourself going there. You've been going there for the past 1 year, for the past 2 years, for the past 5 years, some people for the past 10 years. And the excuses you give yourself are: number 1, the excuse of, how will I survive without this job? I cannot survive without this job. People tell me that a lot. When they stay at jobs that they absolutely hate, and I ask them, why are you still at this job? They're like, how do I survive? I can't survive without this job. This job is my source of survival. When people tell me that, it makes it very clear to me that these people are not self-aware. It's only someone without a sense of awareness of your value as a person, that will see a particular job, as your source of survival. So these people see the employer doing them more of a favor, 100% favor from the employer, and they see themselves giving very little back in return because they are insecure people. They don't believe that they have much value. So they believe that the employer has done them a huge favor by employing them. So they work as slaves. And they feel like, oh man, I cannot survive. In fact, this employer has rescued me, is my hero by giving me this job. That's why the employer can get away with not paying or with terrible work conditions, because people feel, I cannot survive without this job. That's why they stay at bad jobs. They see it as their lifeline because they don't really know their value. If you understand your value and you know your value, you would realize people that know their value are not afraid to quit jobs because they know that value is attractive and people would come rushing again to get that value. But people that don't know their value stay at a particular job. They are the kind of people that do terrible things at jobs just to keep that job, even though it's not even their dream job. They don't like it, but but they can't see themselves walking away because they believe life would end after this job. So that's the first excuse that people have when they stay at jobs they don't like. Now, I don't want you to confuse this for, I am at this job for a while till I till I can meet up with something, or till I can get through school. You understand? So there are people working jobs they absolutely do not like, but they work at those jobs with a vision for a purpose. So you have people working jobs that they don't like, but they're like, I'm doing this job so that I can get myself through school and get a better job. I'm doing this job so that I can gather up some money and live and start my business. You see, that is working with a purpose. You are not there because it's a means of survival. You are there because it's a means to an end. So even when I was working with this company that wasn't paying salary, you see, I was working there because I wanted to rack up some clients and build my skill and then get some money to start my business. And once that happened, I wasn't able to get a lot of money, but I was able to build my skill to a very large extent. And after a year, I left the job. But people that are there because it's a means of survival are still there. 17 years later, they're still there. So that's the first excuse. I can't survive without this job. The second excuse that people give that makes them stay at jobs that they absolutely hate or don't like is the excuse of, my boss cannot survive without me. I don't see how my boss will survive at this job without me. Me leaving this job will make my boss absolutely sad. When people tell me that, it makes me know that they are being controlled and manipulated, either by themselves or by their boss. But they are being controlled and manipulated. So you have your boss manipulating you with his emotions and saying, oh man, if you ever leave this job, I don't know how I will ever move on. Do you understand? You are now doing the job because of your boss's fragile emotional and mental state. Because you feel if you leave him, he's going to drown, or leave her, they're going to drown, they're going to break down. So they're manipulating you. It's like a form of blackmail. They're controlling you. Or sometimes the bosses have not even expressed this, but they're the one that just has this inflated perception of yourself at the workplace. And you feel, if I leave, these things cannot go on. Those are people that feel, if I leave this place will crumble. And that is not true. That's not true. There's hardly a place that you work that if you leave, it will crumble. Because you know what? If you were to die, your boss would move on. You will be replaced. It is not true that if you leave, your boss will not survive. He will survive. She would survive. The company would go on. They'll get someone to replace you. So that excuse of, I don't know how my boss will survive. Oh, my boss is such a nice person. He's such a nice guy. Oh man, I don't want to break his heart or break her heart. So I'll manage this job. So people endure their jobs because they feel like their bosses are doing them they are doing their boss a favor, staying there, and they don't want to hurt their boss. Now, it is quite different from being at a job and knowing you want to leave and taking some time to effectively transit. That's different. Because some people will say, okay, I'm at this job, I know I want to leave, but then I want to take 2 months to effectively transit so that my boss can have, or the company can have an easy transition. It won't be too stressful for them. That's commendable. You understand? Taking time to make sure that transition goes on is commendable. But staying there because you feel like it is, you would hurt somebody or hurt somebody's feeling is weak, is counterproductive, because in the end, the person will be hurt. Whether you leave after 1 year or leave after 20 years, the person will be hurt. But I would give you the good news. The person would move on in the end. Your boss will move on in the end. And they will do just fine. So that's the second reason. The second excuse people give themselves when they are at a job is the fact that it will hurt somebody's feelings. and them leaving the job will crumble the business or the company they're coming from. So they do it from a type of twisted empathy for their boss or for their company. Now, the third excuse people give for staying at a job that they don't like is the excuse that they promise to improve things in the future. The boss promises or the company promises to improve things in the future. So people tell you, oh, I don't like this job. I don't like how much they're paying me. I don't like the work conditions. But they promise that by next year, they will increase my salary by X. They promise that by next year, they will change my office to a better office that has ventilation. They promise by next year. No, so everything that will be better about the job is always in the future. So they're enjoying the job for now, for a better tomorrow. So they want to enjoy the job tomorrow, but endure the job today. It's a very dangerous thing. It's a very, very dangerous thing. And that's why we have bad businesses, bad products, bad customer service. Because we have people in companies that they are enduring today with a hope of enjoying tomorrow. And that should never be. Because every day you go into work enduring, you are likely to be a bad worker. Somebody will suffer it. A customer will suffer it. You're going to be impatient with the customer. You're going to be bad at what you do because you're enduring. You should do your work from a point of enjoying what you do. You should never be at a job because of what they promise to do in future. The excitement of being at a job is the excitement of going there today. I'm excited going to work today because I feel fulfilled doing this job today. I know that they promise to do stuff in the future, but even if I'm not there in the future, I feel fulfilled doing the job today. You should never stay at a bad workplace because they promise to be good tomorrow. It's never a good idea to endure your job today for the hope of enjoying the job tomorrow. No, somebody will suffer. Product, service will suffer. Something will suffer. And we have a lot of people doing that. I have so many people that tell me, oh, you know what, I just want to stick it out. I've complained to them, but they said in a year's time, they would increase my salary. In a year's time, they will change this and change that, and things will change. And you call them back in a year's time and nothing has changed. And they come back and tell you, yeah, they said they couldn't do it this year, but they'll do it unfailingly next year. And people are controlled to the extent whereby they take this excuse for years, and you'll be surprised that 10 years later they're still telling you the company will do it next year. And then they live unhappy lives, unfulfilling lives, hating their jobs, being bad ambassadors of their workplace, and doing a bad job. Because they're not happy there that very day. They're happy for the future that never comes. Now, the fourth and final excuse that I'm going to talk about today that people give for staying at a bad job is this excuse of, you know what, I'm going to stay at this job because I'm of the mentality that you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. And these people that I'm going to address are the people that try to do jobs and run businesses at the same time. I think out of all the excuses, this is the one that irks me the most. You know, when people try to hold on to jobs, but they really believe that they should be doing a business, but try to hold on to jobs because they're insecure about their jobs. They're insecure that their businesses can sustain them. So they do half-baked jobs for their employers and half-baked businesses for their clients because their attention is half and half. Their attention is half and half. That they never give full attention to anything because they have the mentality, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So that people that start businesses and you call them, maybe they have a cake business, and you call them because you need a cake. You know, as a client, you've seen their website, their Instagram page, and you need a cake, and you call them and say, oh, no, you can't call me at this time. Can you call me anytime from 6 p.m.? Then we can talk about your cake. Or no, I don't make cakes during the week because I'm at my job. I only make cakes on weekends. So your birthday or your anniversary or whatever has to fall on the weekend for you to work with them. So they're always doing the client a disservice. And they're also doing their bosses or their employers a disservice, because these people are also the people that, because they want to do businesses and work at the same time, they end up giving excuses to leave work. So they'll tell you, oh, I need to leave work early today because my child is sick. Oh, I need to go on my lunch break, but they will go for the next 2 hours because they really gone to see a client. So you see what? They're always robbing Peter to pay Paul. So to attend to their clients, they rob their bosses. To attend to their bosses, they rob their clients. Do you understand? But they stay at jobs that they are really not satisfied at. They know they don't want to stay at that job. They know they really hate that job. They really want to do the business, but they're insecure. Do you understand? That mentality of, I can't put all my eggs in one basket. So they never ever build strong businesses, and they never ever become model employees. So they do themselves ultimately a disservice, because they lose out on business and they lose out on being an employee. They get fired in the long run. And in the long run, clients don't come to that business. So they lose out. And that's why it irks me the most. Some people with really, really good business ideas, but they are really insecure. So they just rather stay at a secure salary and do the job and do the business on a weekend, or do the business in the evening. So they don't get any rest. Then they go into work the next day grumpy and stressed out and wired. And then they treat the customers at work poorly and do their job poorly. You see why this is the worst excuse you can give yourself? I can't put all my eggs in one basket. The economy is poor. Some people even call it multiple streams of income. I don't agree. Multiple streams of income doesn't come by robbing somebody to pay the other person. No, that is fraud. When you talk about multiple streams of income, this is how I see it. I start a business, I build the business, I mentor people, I employ people, they're able to do it without me there. I'm free, I go and start another business while this one is still running 100% and giving my customers 100%. I start another one, build it, mentor people, employ people who are able to do the job even without me there. I'm able to free up myself, I start another one. That is what I see as multiple streams of income. When you have something that you are doing that doesn't allow you to do the other one, except you lie or steal time or steal resources from one to put into the other one, that's not multiple streams of income. That is hustling and a form of fraud. So those are the reasons that people give. Those are the reasons that people give for staying at jobs they absolutely hate. Those are the reasons people give for staying at jobs they absolutely hate. And it affects your impact as a person. It affects your fulfillment as a person. And we must learn to stop giving those excuses and start living more impactful lives today.